As we reconstruct black civilization, we must be mindful not to rebuild it based on European standards. We must do as Dr. Marimba Ani has done so intricately and effectively in her book, Yorugu, and that is critically analyze European cultural thought and behavior. We have become to some degree prematurely excited about the European-style infrastructural developments in Africa without properly analyzing the effects this infrastructure has had on European countries and colonies' natural environments. As we analyze the negative effects European infrastructure and overindulgent culture have on the natural world, we quickly recognize the necessity to readopt our pre-colonial cultural practice of moderation. Our emotional attachment to all things European has clouded our judgment and blinded us to the destructive nature of European ideology. Our spiritual, educational, economic, and revolutionary ideology and ideological approaches have all been based on the European model. Well, today we want to give you a visual in hopes that seeing will at least lead you to the start of believing and ultimately knowing. As you watch this short video, ask yourself if what we are building is progression or regression. Is it construction or destruction? Is it development or underdevelopment? This has been Daku Agabo Wakatu.
I know each of you are well suited to elaborate from your own perspective on that. Steve, I wanted to start with you. You run you have a global base of investors. You have become very involved in Africa of late. And I really wanted to ask your perspective of where do you see the greatest challenge to improving and enhancing infrastructure in Africa? What role can the private sector best play? What role can African governments and Africa's partners play to increase the quality and the quantity of infrastructure?
I think the people on the first panel actually did a pretty good job at laying this out, whether it was Jeff Immelt or someone else, that we've been doing infrastructure for a while in Africa. We completed building a dam in Uganda, and it comprises now 40% of the electricity, lowered the price by about a third, and increased the GDP by about 60%. So the power of power is really very substantial.
They tell you deceptively that you're going to make money and save money, and there are going to be all types of comforts that are afforded to the local peoples of the various regions of Africa. But what they don't tell you are the negative side effects and the astronomical costs of these so-called developments.
Of the 79,000 dams on American rivers, many are old and expensive to maintain. It's a multi-million-dollar-a-year campaign, one we'll probably be paying for as long as the dams are in place. Estimates of liability to the tribes for losing salmon reach into the billions of dollars.
We must understand that in most cases, there are more negative side effects to these so-called developments than benefits.
Fish that escape predation and enter the ladders pass by the counting window at Bonneville. Here we measure how well they and we are doing. Lately, about 1 million fish a year, both wild and hatchery-born, travel past the window. That's less than 8% of an average run 100 years ago. The consequences of that decline are going to prove ever more devastating. The dream of unlimited hatchery production turned out to be just that, a dream. But even were it realized, something irreplaceable would be lost. Fish that return to hatcheries don't find a fire in cold stone. or express the riotous diversity that has so long been the salmon's greatest strength. They don't fertilize the alpine womb that was, for millennia, each generation's birthplace.
6 million years of evolution in these streams, 10,000 years of evolution since the last glacier. Are we going to throw it all away in one generation? Leave nothing for our children?
We can never hope to fertilize the land as effectively as wild salmon once did, but we can make it easier for salmon to take up the task again.